Every 4th of July in my childhood, my mom made red, white, and blue outfits for me and my sister. I'm talking hot pants, red, white, and blue cuffs, yes, hot pants, with red, white, and blue cuffs and little red tops, and it was all, some red ribbons and things. And then Dad barbecued ribs and corn and chicken and all that good stuff. And I was little, so I didn't have any question about the liberation being experienced on the 4th of July. I was all like red, white, and blue. But this year I did something really different, which was to say that I started what I hope is a new tradition. I'm not going to lie and act like I'm not going to have some barbecued ribs on the 4th of July. I am. But I did decide to fast at the first part of the day. Thank you, Diane. To fast, to be in solidarity with the children whose stomachs might be full, but whose hearts are empty because their parents aren't around. To fast in solidarity with the parents who love their babies and who don't know where they are. And to fast in solidarity with the poor, all the poor. You know how you start feeling hungry and you get cranky? Imagine that kind of stomach growling and hunger day in and day out. So I fasted until I ate my ribs. And in the nighttime. And spent some time outside of the Cayuga Center at 125th and Broadway. And it's a kind of a foster center. Kids go there during the day and they stay during the day, and then they actually go to foster homes at night. And they weren't there on the holiday. And I went there with 100 or so other folks from other congregations, including ours, and it was hard. But I was thinking, how many of us really know that the children are not just in bondage on the border? That those kids are being stuck on airplanes in the secret times at night and flown all around this country, including our backyard. And even though they might be being kindly cared for, mostly that's not the report. Mostly the report, including inside the center where we protested, the lovely center where the people called me and said, Dr. Lewis, come, let us show you our beautiful center. There's footage of the beautiful center that was given to MSNBC by a former employee. And the children who are gathered there, who are not hungry, but are crying while they huddle together at the dinner table because they do not know where their parents are. And there's one 9-month-old baby that will never be able to say, oh yes, esa es mi mamá. So, it's a hot mess out there. And I know because you've told me that some of you are feeling like, whatever, like, can we do this? Can we make a difference? How do we hold back the onslaught of the river of junk that is just coming our way? How many more wins will the bad guys have, right? I mean, it is like the most structured assault on our democracy that I could ever have imagined. And we can talk history and we can talk continuity, and we know about the Southern strategy under the administration of Nixon, who said we can't call them the N-word anymore. We have to make it about voting rights, or we have to make it about crime. We can talk about the continuity of the disruption of democracy, the devaluation of human life. But this time, right here, every single day, don't you read something, see something that makes you just want to holler and throw up both your hands? How much more? How much more? Voting rights sucked in the gut. Affirmative action being rolled back. My LGBTQ friends are wondering, when are they going to come for marriage equality? Banning people for being Muslim in a nation whose dollars say one nation under God, who stands up for religious freedom, whose so-called founding fathers left Britain so they could come here for religious freedom, and now we're going to ban Muslims. Are we coming for the Jews next? It is heart-wrenching. And if we weren't sad, I think there'd be something wrong with us. If we weren't angry, what kind of apathetic people would we be? If we weren't distraught, it would mean our souls were dead, but they're not, right? So we're in anguish. I am so exhausted by it. I feel like where'd the water go? I feel like I'm running like a slave going north every day. How to keep up with which meeting? How to keep up with who's organizing? What kind of conversation are we having? What's the plot? What's the plan? What's the play? Where do we have to put our bodies? All of us who are clergy in these days and times that are progressive are beat down dead, super tired, because we're trying to show up for this moment and stand up for healthcare and be there about the prison industrial complex, to find the data, to do the research, to find out just how much Russia is deeply embedded in our democracy. And you're tired too, because you're out there doing your thing. You're writing, you're showing up, you're hanging out, you're talking it up, you're doing your thing. It's a hot mess. And so I listened to the gospel today, and I have to be reminded that no matter what, this is not the first time God's people have felt under assault. The gospel is written in a time of terror. Say it, the gospel is written in a time of terror. It's not like, oh, the pristine life that was being lived by these people. This is a faithful, faith-filled people who knew for centuries abuse, attack, war, abuse, attack, war. And now, in the so-called Roman peace, by the way, kept with violence, they are looking for the God of their ancestors to save them. They need to be reminded that they have not only a God who loves them, but a God who hears their cry and a God who will let them go free. Listening to the Rabbi Jesus, the Jewish Rabbi Jesus, is evoking everything in his people's history, that God is on the move and God will not let us down. So there he is in his hometown with his brothers and sisters. Please don't let anyone tell you, that somehow, well, I'm going to digress. Like somehow, there was just Jesus and Mary and Joseph, and poof, out he came, and nothing else happened. Jesus had a whole family, brothers and sisters, a whole family, which made Mary normal, Joseph normal, and Jesus human. Amen? So here he is with his family. Here he is in his own hometown, being criticized for being powerful. And I just want to say, instead of being shut down, he kind of got him a posse. Can I say that again? Instead of being shut down, he kind of got him a posse. Like the text said, he could do no deeds of power there, except heal people. That's pretty powerful. But in the face of the criticism, in the face of maybe the rejection by his own family, he didn't feel as powerful, so he got himself a posse, the disciples, and told them, you're going to go 2 by 2. You're not going to take any magic wands. You're going to take your staff. You're just going to wear sandals. You're going to go plain Jane out in the world, and you are going to tame the unclaimed spirits, and you are going to cast out the demons, and you are going to be the ones who do the healing. In other words, in hot mess times, we need a posse. In hot mess times, God requires all of us to get busy, healing the world. Amen? Amen? And you might be thinking, I don't know how I'm going to do it. Well, I don't either. But I believe we can do it together because we've been here before, right? I am an African American daughter of African Americans who are the granddaughters of enslaved Africans. I am a woman who's not supposed to speak in the pulpit, and But I'm speaking. And ain't nobody got me in chains. Amen? We are the people who have ancestors who were faithful people who kicked injustice in the behind. We are the people who are the progeny of the women who fought for the right to vote. We are the people who are the progeny of the people who worked together, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, to emancipate, to make sure that slavery ended. We are the people. We are the people who've watched our nation take land from First Nation people, take their kids out of their arms, and stop them from speaking their own language. We are the people. We are the people who, yes, watched a people fight with Germany, but inter the Japanese. We are the people. Yes, we are the people who watched a people snatch black babies off of their mother's breasts. We are those people, but we're also the people who fought back. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? We are the people who have in our DNA such horrific, horrible stories of disregarding humankind. And we are the people who have held hands together and marched toward freedom. We are the people who know how to make this right. Frederick Douglass, on the 4th of July, 1852, was asked to do a speech to the president and a whole bunch of white people, and he was pretty stank. He was not in a good mood about this. He just was not. He was like, hi. He was pretty fiery about it. And we're going to put a link to the whole speech up on the website tomorrow, because it must be read and committed to memory. But let me just say a little bit of Fred. What to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him more than all the other days of the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham. Your boasted liberty, an unholy license. Your national greatness, swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless. Your denunciations of tyrants, brass-fronted impudence. Your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery. Your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgivings with all your religious parade and solemnity are, to the Negro enslaved, mere bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, hypocrisy. A thin veil to cover up crimes which would disgrace a nation of savages. There's not a nation on the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of these United States of America. I don't think they invited him back to that particular venue to speak the truth. But speak the truth he did. I'm talking about a theology of liberation, friends, right up in here. I'm talking about all of us, not just the ordained ones. I'm talking about all of us accepting our call to ministry, to preach truth to power every day in our lives. I'm talking about a theology of liberation. I'm saying if we're acknowledging that we're the body of God, then we cannot let even our sorrow silence us. And sorrowful we are. But I'm here to tell you, sorrow is a good motivator. And I'm here to tell you our anger that is righteous, our anger that is lined up with the things that grieve our God is necessary for us to move. I don't know who told us that Jesus was some nammy-pammy, wimpy, peaceful guy who was never angry. He was pretty pissed off. Is that okay? Do you have to bleep that out? He was pretty angry at injustice. He had a temper tantrum at injustice. He lost his mind. The Bible says trouble in his gut, in his splachna, stomach aches at injustice. We're in good company when we have a stomach ache at injustice. I'm talking about a theology of liberation. Gustavo Gutierrez, the father of liberation theology in based communities in Spanish-speaking countries, talking about poverty, says, the poor person does not exist as an inescapable fact of destiny. His or her existence is not politically neutral and is not ethically innocent. The poor are a byproduct of the system in which we live and for which we are responsible. I'm talking about a theology of liberation. They're the marginalized by our social and cultural world. They're oppressed, exploited, proletariat, robbed of the fruit of their labor, despoiled of their humanity. The poverty is a result of our policies. The poor are a result of our indifference. The poor are the result of our silence. That nice Cayuga Center, that maybe they're lovely people, but if they take the children who belong to the parents and put the children in the beds and feed them at the dinner table when the parents are someplace grieving, and they take the $775 a night to keep the children, they're kind of participating in the oppression of the children. They're kind of participating in the poverty of the parents, poverty of spirit, the poverty of the economic disparity. Do you understand what I'm saying? Our silence is complicit. James Cone, creator of Black liberation theology, says the Christian community, therefore, is that community that freely becomes oppressed because they know that Jesus himself has defined humanity's liberation in the context of what happens to the little ones. Christians join the cause of the oppressed in the fight for justice, not because of some philosophical principle of the good, not because of a religious feeling of sympathy. Sympathy doesn't change the structures of injustice. The authentic identity of the ones who are with the Christ is with the poor, and found in the claim which the Jesus encounter lays upon our own lifestyle, a claim that connects the word Christian with liberation. Christian and liberation are synonyms. We are not the body of God, friends, unless we're working for liberation. I'm talking a theology of liberation. And what do, Jacqui? I don't know. I think we have to start small. I think we start with being convinced and convicted of our faith so much that in every encounter we have, we're evangelists. What I mean by that is the good news sayers, right? So you're at work and you're in a conference room and somebody's watching Fox News and they come and they tell you some crap about how we need walls. What are we going to do when we hear that? Are we going to say, Or are we going to say, I don't know? Were there walls on Ellis Island when your people came? I mean, are we going to try to engage the conflict? Are you with me? Just engage the conflict. So number one, engage the conflict. Like, it's real. We're in a war of ideals. So be ready. Watch Fox News. I watched it the other day. It was quite shocking. Watch it. Consume more than one station so you can understand the mindset and values of the others. And we're not trying to demonize anybody, but we need a conversation about the conflict. That's one. Two, do you like it here? Do you like it here? If you like it here, if you feel like there's something good being taught here, that you're learning something good here, thank you for that beautiful, rousing yes from the young people. Bring somebody with you next time. Like each one bring one. And I'm not talking about for church growth's sake, I'm talking for movement building sake. So that somebody who doesn't know the gospel of God as love and thinks of the gospel of God as punishment and judgment and who's not in could come taste a little revolutionary love. Bring somebody with you. What's one? Okay, good. What's two? Okay, three. Use your money in the movement. Now, you know I need you to give offering here at Middle Church, but maybe you need to empower. Maybe you need to empower change, a Muslim group of people working on the Muslim ban. Or maybe you want to give money to the dreamers. Maybe you want to give money to people who are doing what you do, what you care about to extend your reach. Do you understand what I'm saying? Three is put some money in it. Put some money in the movement because the movement needs money. Four is follow two really important things that we're doing at Middle. One is working with Ruby Sales on caravans to the borderland. Say caravan to the borderland. There's a new website now. You can go there to, hardingcenter.org and find out how we're going to stay in this movement. Not a 4th of July moment, but a movement that includes going to the border September 8th, that includes understanding the politic of what's happening, that includes going to the polls to vote out anybody who doesn't understand what's happening. And that brings me to 4, which is we're participating in a beautiful thing called Vote for the Good. Isn't that sound? Vote for the Good. It's being started by a man named Doug Padgett. Middle is a partner. And we are going to be, not we, Jeff, not me, I'm not going. But they're going to be doing caravans around the country. When they come to New York, I'll speak. But caravans around the country to purple places to try to actually engage with voters who felt like a Republican vote was all they could do if they were faithful. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if they're for the religious conviction, not about Hillary, not about Trump, but really like, I need to vote this way because I'm a person of faith. And they're trying to say, no, actually, here's the common good. Voting rights. Senior citizens get food on the table. Everybody has enough. So to create a platform and a conversation space where we can swing voters to vote for the good and not necessarily feel I have to vote for the cray-cray. Doesn't that sound good? I'm so angry about what's happening in our country. I just am. And if you know me, you know I'm a pretty good optimist cheerleader type person. And the reason that I'm not devolved in a pile of chocolatey mess, you feel it, right? I'm melting, I'm just done, is because I actually believe that our sorrow and our anger and our disappointment are part of what gets us to hope. What gets us to hope is understanding that we can grieve because God's heart is broken. What gets us to hope is knowing it's okay to feel the sorrow. We just can't wallow in it. If you need to have a cry, do it. Do it. And then offer the tears to God in prayer. Because God is never going to fail us. And when we look at the moment, the snapshot, in the moment, it feels like, where is God? And then look at the whole story. And look at all the ways God shows up. All of the times God makes a way. Every single thing that God redeems us from, rescues us from, lifts us up from. We don't have to stay down in the dumps because our God is on the move and has proven herself to use ordinary human beings time in and time out to bend the moral arc of the universe toward justice. We just have to feel the feelings and then move. We have to grieve the grief and then move. We have to have tactics and strategies and practical things to do and move. And I promise you, from now until the 2020 elections, every week, there's going to be something for you to do in the service of justice, in the movement building, something practical that you can do. Will you do it? Yes. I need to close. That's what Black Baptist preachers say when they got 5 more minutes of sermon. When Presbyterians get to the end, we just say amen. But with the Black Baptist people be like, and so in conclusion, while I wrap it up. Right? So I'm a Baptitarian. I'll do Baptist today. As I close, guys, I want to tell you that, I was a little girl with a father in the Air Force. I was a Patriots kid. So the Star-Spangled Banner just meant a lot to me as a little kid. And those little red, white, and blue shorts meant a lot to me as a little kid. And I really do believe that we can turn our country around. But we can't turn it around if we're not willing to critique it. We can't turn it around if we're not willing to fight for what we think is just. So those of you who are following my script, I'm not there now, right? But I'm about to say that one of the most important moments of my kind of young adult life, I was with a guy I was dating and another couple, and we were on Ellis Island. And when we went by the bottom of the statue, we did not climb it. But we did sing the Star-Spangled Banner in 4-part harmony. And when we were done, we were just like crying, just thinking about all the things, all the ways that we are, all the ways we are a land of the free and the home of the brave. And we're not who we ought to be, but oh my God, we have so much potential. So thinking about that the other day, I was given a prayer. I'm going to read it to you, and then we're going to have another experience of it. Oh, say, can you see what is plain to behold? Though we shout liberty, there are too many in chains. We are shackled to greed and the fear we are small. This truth must be told. There is one God who loves all. Won't you give me your hand? And together we'll stand with radical love, heal our souls and our land. Oh, say, can we end all this fighting and strife and walk toward the light that we all might be free? Oh, say, can you see what is plain to behold? Though we shout liberty, there are too many in chains. We are shackled in greed and the fear we are small. This truth must be told. There is one God who loves all. Won't you give me your hand? And together we'll stand with radical love. Heal our souls and our land. Oh, say can we end all this fighting and strife and walk toward the light that we all might be free. Amen.